Folashade held on to her friend and would not let her go. Today or nothing, she thought aloud. Her friend Biola was surprised at this sudden behavior. Has any of the girls said anything to her? If not, then why the sudden curiosity? Biola called. We love you so much. Ever since you moved in with us, we've been nothing but kind to you. I know, she replied, but I also want to help. I want to assist and be able to do things for myself. I am so helpless and pathetic like this. Bella smiled with pain sealed behind her lips. Do not mention this to the others, and I do not want to hear of this again. This conversation never happened. With that, she pulled herself from her friend's grip and walked out of the room. They've both been best friends since forever. At least that was how Biola introduced her to people. They've shared secrets and silent tears. And how they met was common knowledge to their friends. It was on the first Sunday, many years ago. Biola, who woke up late, dismissed the fact that she would not be able to make it to church early and went anyways. It was her first time in the church. She would not come out for newcomers' welcome, she thought. The man of God had already started preaching when she walked in. She scanned the room with her eyes and headed for an empty seat in the front row. How bold of Biola. An usher ran up to her, insisting that the seat had already been occupied, but the occupants had stepped out to buy something. Biola suspected that the usher was trying to harass her because of her skimpy dress. This is the house of my father. I can sit anywhere I want, she told the usher. Neither Biola nor the usher would back down. The seat occupant, a young lady of Biola's age, showed up and was briefed by the woman seated beside her on the reason behind the argument. Although it was a quiet one, people had begun to get distracted. She walked up to the both of them and gave up her seat. Biola was surprised at this stranger's kindness. She would never do that for anyone, and definitely not for this weirdly dressed lady. She said her thank yous and sat down on her desired seat, the beloved front row. She focused her gaze on the man of God and said an hallelujah, waving her right hand in the air. She glanced at the displeased usher and smiled. She had won. After the service, she thanked the lady again and asked for her name. Fola, the lady said, my name is Folashade Biola. Their friendship bloomed over the years, even though they were two sides of a coin in personality. They never let that get in their way. After Folashade lost her mother, she could not afford to continue paying the rent and was thrown out of the house by her landlord. Biola was quick to come to her aid and allowed her to move to her apartment, which she shared with 3 other girls. The 3 other girls were easy to convince and didn't object when Fola moved in. Soon, they developed a pattern. They would work and bring in the money. Folashade would cook, clean, and do all the housekeeping chores. A pattern which they had maintained effortlessly. But Fola did not want to stay at home anymore. She wanted to join them in their job and make a lot of money like them. The seasonal ushering job she did helped pay for her tuition and nothing more. Biola never disclosed the type of job she did, and Fola never asked until now. She looked puzzled as Biola walked out in fury. Shouldn't she be happy that I'm offering to help? She wondered. Biola was not the type to get angry. She knew something was wrong. The more she thought about it, the more curious she became. That night, When the girls came back, Biola was no longer angry. Fola apologized to her, and Biola made her promise to never talk about it again. It's beyond limits. I might not be a saint, but I'm also not a destroyer. I want the best for you. Fola shared the room with the other three girls. They were all squatting with Biola, but unlike her, they contributed to the rent. She was close to one of them, a lady few years younger than her, named Kosi. She wasn't satisfied with Biola's request, but she couldn't object. Neither could she ask the girls, because she knew they would tell Biola she asked. Feeling helpless after a futile effort, she drifted to sleep. She dreamt of herself and the other girls, Biola included, sitting in the living room, counting bundles of money and journeying year to year. Flavors Agbabola on her. She joined them to spray the money and pick them up after. She woke up, smiling to herself. She had a plan. Biola and the other girls did not go out for several nights, and when they eventually did, it was very late. Biola walked into Fola's room to notify her that they were leaving and was satisfied when she saw that Fola was asleep. She locked the main door behind her and left with the others. Little did she know that Fola was pretending. She stood up immediately she heard them leave, took out from the wardrobe a beautiful sexy dress Biola had given her days before. She quickly wore it and sat in front of the mirror. Containers of makeup products scattered on its table. This should be easy, she thought. She did her makeup like she had seen Kosi do it countless times. Satisfied with the face that stared back at her, she wore her shoes and left. The girls had not gone too far when she stepped into the street. She tailed them using the darkness to her advantage. When they got to the junction, she stopped, for the girls flagged down a taxi. Olivia's rock, Biola said to the taxi man as she entered. Folashade was shocked, her eyes widening in horror. She tried to contain herself as she clasped her hands over her mouth. It was all making sense. The puzzles. Olivia's rock, she repeated as the familiar name kept resounding in her head, ticking off a box on an imaginary wrist. Oh no, she cried as she ran back to the house, not believing her ears.